This series will look at the top seasons that could use a re-edit, based on an average ranking of Once Upon an Island and my results. Please subscribe to our channels and become a patron for extra benefits. Making it to the second spot is Ghost Island. Even as the season was airing, it became obvious we weren't getting a full picture of what was happening.
This is Survivor. You never know what's actually going on.
Around half the cast basically were completely purpled in the edit, only showing up when it couldn't be avoided. This meant that there were only a few winner contenders to choose from. The narrative also forced certain characters on us, to the point where they became overbearing. This leads into another issue with the season, the odd storytelling. A lot of the Malolo tribe were given fleshed out edits, so it felt like they would be the endgame players.
I have been envisioning getting that $1 million check at the reunion show and just running down and picking my kids up and them screaming because their mom just won Survivor.
The show really wanted us to see Malolo and apparently anything with the color orange as a sign for a lovable underdog that we should want to win. Then after the swap, a lot of these players that were getting stronger edits were all suddenly voted out. We as an audience actually got to know these players, so seeing their stories end so quickly was sad to watch and sucked a lot of life out of the season. These players are also given extremely positive edits in relation to Navidi, who were shown to be cocky and unwilling to make moves. The original Navidi have all claimed that the original Malolo members were actually very cliquey, and this is part of why they could never find a crack.
It seemed like it was Navidi strong for so long, and a lot of the Malolos wanted nothing to do with us. It was not 100% a product of us being like, well, we have the numbers.
At the tribal council where Brendan left, Lolo were trying so hard to get everyone to flip on Bradley that they personally attacked him to the point where he was reduced to tears.
We all get along, we all like each other, and we all intend to play this game together.
Congratulations on making them believe that.
Just imagine with different editing, this entire situation could have been edited to make Malolo look like the villains. This would have made more sense in terms of a bigger picture story as well. Even though the Navidi tribe made up the majority of the endgame, we basically didn't get to see most of the tribe or understand any of their dynamics.
And what's so crazy about not seeing any of it was that it pretty much controlled the rest of the game. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why the story arc was that these Malolos were the underdogs.
Throughout the entire season, the Navidi dynamics could be summarized as Chris versus Dom.
Some of the things that come out of his mouth are just so ridiculous.
I would love to compare myself to, like, the Dwayne Wades, man. I started from the bottom and now I'm here.
Bradley being a dick.
Jonathan, can you help me move this, please? Jonathan, can you help me move this?
And Kellen playing with her gut.
Your gut is the perfect mix of your head and your heart.
We never got to see the inner dynamics of this tribe and get to know most of them, so of course it makes sense that we were rooting for the other tribe. But why did the season get edited this way? Why did we get such fleshed out edits for the pre-merge players and basically nothing for the people that would actually be around all season? Interviews after the season show a completely different dynamic of what was going down on Navidi than was portrayed on the show. In the first few episodes, all we see is that it's Dom versus Chris, and everyone else is somewhere in the middle. Apparently Wendell, Bradley and Kellen assembled a tight alliance and took in Dom and Morgan to make a solid 5-person alliance. Wendell and Bradley were really tight and they thought they could bring in Sebastian, whereas Dom and Chelsea made an agreement from the start of the game to look out for each other. This dynamic explains why certain moves were made by the players, which wasn't clear based on the edit. For example, the Bradley boot was actually a joint strategic move by both Dom and Chelsea. They threw the challenge to boost themselves up in the pecking order of their original tribe. The edit implies the vote is just them wanting Bradley gone because of his attitude, which is far from the truth.
Bradley, if that pot's empty, I just want to dump this in.
I'd like to eat my rice first.
Bradley's a pain in the ass to be around.
This bonus confessional that was edited from extended interviews on CBS and never made the episode is able to explain some of the reasoning behind the Bradley vote that we never saw on the show.
When we merge, Navidi holds the numbers, and Bradley has a lot of connections on Navidi. He's really close with Kellen. He's really close with Wendell. You know, there's a lot of people that he could rope in and form you know, an alliance with, and he's someone that would dispose of me pretty quickly, I think, in this game, and I think that's why it's a good move for me, because once I eliminate him, all of a sudden Kellen is my alliance, not my alliance through him or something like that.
The season also didn't mind leaving big holes in the stories of players that it had decided weren't significant. For example, we're suddenly told that everyone sees Libby and Michael as a tight pair in Libby's boot episode, when we haven't even seen them really talk up to that point.
The reason why my name was written down is because of Michael, because they think we're a power couple, and it sucks.
We never saw that Jenna thought she had an idol, which was a fake planted by Wendell on the swapped Yunuya tribe. Jenna told Laurel that she had the Yunuya idol, which is why Laurel thought Wendell was lying when he told her he had the idol after the merge.
I have an idol also.
What? I know you're lying to me right now. Why are you telling me a lie right now?
Why do I not have one?
Because you would have told me before.
No.
Sebastian unexpectedly votes out Chris, who has been presented as his day one alliance, and it's not clear who Sebastian thinks he is tied with, until he apparently is tied with Dom and Wendell and wants to do an all guys thing near the end. Also, Angela is somehow on 2 islands at once during her stay on Ghost Island and at camp. At the Desiree vote, it's completely unclear what Chelsea and Angela are even thinking that entire episode, even though it plays a crucial part in their stories. Desiree had earlier said to Malolo that she can get Chelsea and Angela to flip on Navidi with her.
I already know I can pull in Ange and Chelsea, so we would have the majority.
We see Kellen worrying about this with Chelsea and Angela's name coming up in conversations.
If Chelsea is against me, then she spent the entire day playing me.
We gotta figure something out.
None of this is adding up.
But we never actually hear what Chelsea or Angela think about the entire thing. Another frustrating factor is that the edit tried to be very strategy heavy in a season of minimal strategy. The season would have been much more enjoyable if it just focused on the wacky characters instead.
The Malolo can go no further low than the Malolo.
This is very apparent with Laurel's story. The edit tries to portray her as a savvy strategist who is waiting for the right moment to make a big move and take out Dom or Wendell.
He and Dom, they have too much power right now. At some point, I need to shake things up. I need something to change because now that we're at the merge, this is when you've really got to start to make the moves.
After about the 7th time we've seen her weigh up her options, the story starts to get a little tedious. It's clear that so much of the season was building up to the final vote with Laurel having to be the deciding factor.
The person who is not tied, Laurel, you become the 11th and final member of our jury, and you will cast the deciding vote.
While it's a great moment, the edit had made the audience so frustrated with her.
Oh my gosh.
That we didn't feel for a situation by this point. With better direction and a more considered story, Ghost Island could have been a lot more entertaining to watch.
These could have been used for you, bro.
But you never let me in on those, bro.
Why do I need to let you in on what's my possession, bro?
Because it's an alliance, bro.
Before we reveal our #1 season that needs to be re-edited, let's recap the previous 9 seasons we have covered so far, just so we remember what we're walking into here. Number 10 is season 20, Heroes vs. Villains.
What do you mean you have no machete?
It grew legs and walked off.
Number 9 is season 4, Marquesas.
I didn't like dig the way your eyes were, your presentation.
I have changed my opinion of Zoe. Zoe's a bitch.
Number 8 is season 32, Co Wrong.
She might go drown herself. You guys might want to keep an eye on her.
Damn, Debbie.
Number 7 is season 2, The Australian Outback.
I may be a lot of things, but I ain't no Hershey bar.
Number 6 is season 31, Cambodia Second Chances.
If that sounds logical, hooray for me. If it don't, just throw it out the hat, you know?
To keep no logic.
Number 5 is season 34, Game Changers.
Nice. Hey, funky looking.
Number 4 is season 23, South Pacific.
Brandon, I think, often thinks that apology absolves all sins, and maybe that's true in church, but on Survivor, people are not as forgiving as, Jesus Christ is.
Number 3 is season 26, Caramoan, Fans vs. Favorites 2.
That's what I'm talking about! We won. We won.
Number 2 is season 36, Ghost Island.
I don't want to be the dick that just keeps playing devil's advocate constantly, because I hate that person as much as the next person, so.
And number 1 on our list is season 19, which is, say it with me, Survivor Samoa. Yes, we all saw this coming. I mean, actually, I didn't see this coming. No, this is completely a blindside to me. Anyways, sometimes you may hear the season referred to as the Russell Hantz Show, and no, we're not referencing his YouTube channel. And isn't that the problem? This is going to come across as similar to some other seasons on the list, but that is because there is a consistent problem with quite a few seasons that need a re-edit.
Brett, who had been virtually unheard of during the entire game.
If every season of Survivor is a story and who wins is the climax, then shouldn't every contender be a part of the overall storyline? That's something to think about with every single season. In some of these seasons, we have used confessional counts as proof of how much screen time someone got, as proof that something might be imbalanced. Well, hold on to your butts, this one's about to get spicy. While Russell Hantz is an amazing character and he rightly deserves the focus he gets this season, did he really need 108 confessionals, an all-time record for any player on any individual season of the show? Of course not. Sometimes his confessionals are literally him just like repeating his thoughts with different words. It's completely unnecessary.
You plant that little seed in their head, in their little brain, and then it grows, and it's called a Russell seed. It takes over their whole mind.
And now, I gotta make sure my seed is planted in all these dumbasses' heads.
The actual winner of this season, Natalie White, the person who accomplished the only 2 goals when it comes to playing Survivor, which let's recap what those are. Number 1, get to the final tribal council, which both her and Russell Hantz do. And number 2, convince your specific jury to give you the title of sole survivor. And she is given a whopping 15 confessionals, while Russell doesn't come close. It's not like this is a 4-3 vote and he loses by 1. Somehow, those 15 confessionals that she gets all season, by the way, Russell gets more than that in the first 2 episodes. It doesn't make sense.
Oh my word.
Why make your audience bitter with how a season ends on purpose? So what is the solution? What would need to be done in a re-edit of the season? Obviously, give Natalie White about 30 to 35 more confessionals. She played Russell and used him as a meat shield, a la Amber Burkich with Boston Rob in All Stars. We should really get to know her personally. What does she care about? What is her strategy? Who is she as a person? What motivates her? And honestly, for every confessional you give to her, just take it away from Russell. 70 to 80 is just fine for him, as a lot of the time, as I said before, he's simply repeating himself. And here I am, simply repeating myself, saying things that we both already know.
If it comes down to me or him, I know I could beat Russell in the very end, because I would say a lot of other people in the tribe have really been rubbed the wrong way by him.
The other major change to this season would be building up the Galoo tribe. Oh, you may not remember them, but they're the tribe that Russell Hantz isn't on, as the dominant force, because going into the merge, that's exactly what they are.
I would be floored if I saw them get 1, let alone 2 or 3 that they would need to actually spin this game. And that's not me being cocky or confident, but I just struggle to see what it is that they can do.
They have a large cast of characters, and we only really get to know Shambo for obvious reasons. She has a sick haircut.
Mullet went out in the 70s. It looks terrible. Her hair is funky.
But otherwise, they are treated as simple cannon fodder for Russell, like those aliens in Space Invaders. Who are they? I don't care, but they're in my way. And really, they should be treated with more respect than that. They did just as much work to get on the show as Russell. The fact that Foa comes into the merge and essentially pagongs the entire Galoo tribe, despite being down 8-4 through social maneuvering and great idol plays, should be played up more. It wasn't just Russell who did all those moves. There was 3 other people with him helping him.
If we merge, we need somebody on the inside, and Natalie's doing a good job talking to Laura around the camp, so I have to keep Natalie for my little toy.
Kelly and Laura, I just basically let them know that Eric needed to go now. We have 4 people, they have 8. It's not a big deal if they lose 1.
And in building up Galoo, it would have made for a more emotional impact for us as an audience if we knew who they were and why they turn on each other.
There are hundreds of thousands of fish on the reef, so.
The good news is, you'll never believe it. There's fish in the ocean.
And ultimately, Foa being the underdog would actually feel like an underdog story, because as of right now, it never really feels that way because the current edit treats Russell like he's Superman, who has no weaknesses.
Nobody here's playing the game. Nobody is playing the game but me.
He treats people like crap and they bow to him and cater their games to help him, which doesn't at all help us think that Natalie winning is not because of a bitter jury. The way the season is presented acts like, oh, here's the real winner of the season and the jury is wrong, which is not great for us as an audience. Let's be real, she treated the jury with respect and let Russell be the bad guy. It ain't flashy, but a winner only needs to please their individual jury, not the audience at home.
I think I got a good shot now, man.
You got a great shot.
I do too.
Survivor Samoa, the one that we have all watched, feels like a re-edit that you would get as a bonus on a DVD, you know, like Once Upon a Deadpool, and not like the main story, aka Deadpool 2. And if there were ever a season that needed help telling a more cohesive tale, it's this one. While every other season on this list feels like it would be nice to see re-edited, here we need it. The tale of how Natalie White won the jury through respect is a life lesson that many of us could learn instead of thinking that being flashy and cocky is how a game of social strategy is won, because it's not.
Eat your snack. Eat your snack, eat your snack. Eat your snack, buddy. Oh gosh, oh my word. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is pitiful.